What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Dr. Mike Axler here, PhD in kinesiology and applied physiology, professor of exercise science, and 60-plus time marathoner and ultramarathoner. Let me ask you all a question. And since you're watching this video, I probably know the answer, and you probably know the answers too. Do you eat around workouts? Or do you even work out? Or do you even eat at all? Are you maybe one of those people who's like a loud and proud intermittent faster and you're like, yeah, I have no carbs around my workouts? Or do you go crazy with the protein shakes and the oatmeal, maybe like the Pop-Tarts if you like go into that field a little bit too? Do you stuff your face before working out? Are you moderate about eating before you work out? Where does this leave you? And most importantly, what have you heard on the internet via social media about what you should be eating before a workout, potentially during a workout, and then after a workout? Because as we know, if we are trying to get stronger, if we are trying to get faster, if we're trying to get healthier, or some combination of all of those things such that we're trying to be like a hybrid athlete, yeah, the training is going to be intense and it has to be consistent. So maybe 30 minutes a day or an hour a day or 2 hours a day or whatever your schedule calls for. But even if you're doing very intense physical activity 2 hours a day, that still leaves 22 hours a day for you to recover and adapt positively to come back again the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, stronger and more efficient. So I'm not going to say that the nutritional component is more important than the actual training, but it's just as important, if not maybe a tiny bit more. So today, that is why we are going to be talking about all of the science-backed sports nutrition tips on exactly what to eat and how much of it to eat for strength and endurance goals before, during, and after workouts. So if this sounds interesting to you, then I invite you to continue watching. Awesome. What to eat before training. So this is going to be split apart into strength training athletes as well as endurance athletes, and then kind of a mix between the two, so more of a hybrid athlete approach. For what to eat before training, so your pre-workout training, there's going to be 3 different goals. In order, your first goal should be to top off your glycogen tank. In every one of my videos, I talk about how glucose, which is the primary monosaccharide coming from carbohydrates, gets stored in our liver and our skeletal muscles as glycogen for later. This is awesome so that we don't starve to death all the time when we're not eating. So when we are actually anorexic, meaning we're not eating, we're pulling glycogen from our liver and skeletal muscles in order to raise up our blood sugar or our blood glucose. This is awesome. For all of you folks out there who think that you work out better and more efficiently while fasting, that is a physiological impossibility. That's like saying you feel better when you're holding your breath. It just doesn't work. You need oxygen to breathe. You need fuel in order to fuel up your physical activity, right? So your number one goal should be to top off your glycogen tanks so that you have the maximum amount of energy to get through your session nice and cleanly and efficiently. And then by the end of your session, you're not completely wiped out and tapped out. Awesome. Your second goal should be to avoid GI distress, because this is going to be way more common than expected. Maybe you have had this in the past, maybe a teammate or a friend or a family member, where you keep running in the middle of practices, games, and especially races to and from the bathroom, and it just messes up your performance. Not only does it lead to very, very, very choppy performance, maybe you're like throwing up, maybe you have stomach cramps or a side stitch, but then also we have this thing called the cranial nerves, and there are 12 of them, and cranial nerve number 10 is called the vagus nerve, and this is going to connect your brain and spinal cord down to your gut and back up again. So if you have stomach cramps or you have some sort of GI distress, it's almost a physiological impossibility to also be in a good mood, because all of your hormones, your happy, feel-good hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, epinephrine, norepinephrine, are all going to be a little bit funky and not nice and level and steady. So we want to avoid GI distress. Third, our third goal for what to eat before training is whatever we're eating and however much we're eating, we want to be able to support for performance, so focusing on quality and quantity. For timing of pre-workout nutrition, the research suggests eating around 1 to 3 hours before training, depending on your meal size and your meal composition. If you're someone who can bang on with like a bagel and a protein shake 5 or 10 minutes before, awesome for you. But if you know you're going to need to really digest and use the bathroom a couple of times, try and eat 2 to 3 hours before, and tiny little snacks leading up to your run, your lift, your game activity, whatever it is. As far as what to eat, we're going to focus on 2 main things pre-workout. Number 1 is going to be complex carbohydrates, and I'll detail like a little bit of a post-it note in the next couple of minutes, but complex carbs are going to be your number 1. So any fruit, any vegetable, and any complex carbohydrate, like a starchy form right here. So sweet potatoes, yams, oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, boom, I just gave you like 6 different things. You're going to have a complex carbohydrate alongside of a lean protein. So lean dairy, lean poultry, lean beef, any soy, lentil, bean, whey protein shake, awesome. And lastly on this, we're going to put 2 different things as well as far as what to eat. We want to remain hydrated, so water can be great, but an electrolyte supplement will be even better. Because depending on how hot it is that you're exercising in the climate, how intense you're going to be out there, how long you're going to be out there for, you will lose some combination of sodium, potassium, chloride, and magnesium. So having some electrolyte drink is going to really, really, really benefit you, because a lot of the time, hydration is going to be a limiting factor and not as much as calorie intake. And lastly on what to eat, we have caffeine. Caffeine, as we know from coffee beans and tea leaves, can really boost performance, and this has been showed time and again in the scientific literature. Around 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight of caffeine is wonderful. Anywhere from like 1 to 3, 1 to 4 cups of coffee. Obviously start slow, obviously have food in your stomach, obviously continue to hydrate, but that seems to be in a pretty safe and effective range for caffeine, while also limiting GI distress. And it is important to note here, with respect to pre-workout nutrition, we are going to want to limit both the fat and the fiber content. We know that both fat or dietary fats, as well as high fiber foods, are going to slow down digestion, which is going to increase our GI distress. So you're going to want to save a lot of your dietary fats and your fiber for later on, post-exercise, when you are resting and digesting. So what to eat? Some sample meals or some sample things that you can eat before training. We're going to split this up, as we had said, into protein sources as well as carbohydrate sources. For the protein sources, you could do like a whey protein shake in low-fat milk. That is wonderful. And don't worry about whey being a fast-acting protein. Whey is one of the most bioavailable, healthy protein sources, and you could have it anytime throughout the day. It doesn't matter if it's before, it doesn't matter if it's during, it doesn't matter if it's after. Just get in your daily protein intake and you are all good. You could also have lean poultry, such as chicken and turkey. You could have lean beef, lean dairy, so cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, milk, lentils, soybeans, tofu if you're not into eating meat. So there's 7 or 8 sources right there. And for carbohydrates, again, any fruit, any vegetable, and then whole grains like quinoa, oatmeal, sweet potatoes, whole grain pasta, whole grain bread. It's all wonderful. So having a lean protein with a lean carb, plus some hydration, plus a little bit of caffeine, you are well on your way to fueling up for an awesome session. What to eat during training? So if you're going to work out for less than 75 minutes, such that you're going to go to the gym and you're probably going to be looking at your phone the entire time, because let's be honest, most people don't actually work hard, or you're going to run for like less than 75 minutes, you're not going to need any calories. Again, assuming we topped off our glycogen tanks and we ate a sufficient amount of calories before training, you're going to have enough food in your system, or quite literally calories in your system, to sustain you for the first 75 minutes. So in that 75 minutes, especially if it's hot outside, focus on hydration from an electrolyte containing drink in order to just not slow down and not get into any dangerous situations. If you are going over 75 to 90 minutes or even longer, that's when you're going to start focusing on the easily digestible carbohydrates from something like a gel, a block, some sort of like carbohydrate powder. And the best thing that you can do is to get a combo of glucose and fructose in the gel, in the powder, in the block, whatever it is. So you'll be able to see that on the nutrition label, what type of monosaccharide or simple sugar is in that gel block drink. And if it is glucose and fructose, try and get in around 60 to 90 grams per hour in order to stimulate the most amount of carbohydrates into your bloodstream to make you continue going faster and more efficiently throughout your session. There's been ample research, and this is awesome research if you want to look it up, on Ironman triathletes and on marathoners and ultramarathoners. And those athletes who can get in 30, 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 grams of carbs, the more carbohydrates they were able to take down per hour, the better they performed in comparison with people who had less carbohydrates. So if you can get a combo of glucose and fructose, which are two of the three primary monosaccharides next to galactose, you will do better than someone who's not eating at all. So you need to fuel up. And again, during exercise, really focus on the electrolytes for hydration, maybe a tiny little bit more of caffeine depending on how long you're going out. And obviously avoid protein and fat to delay gastric emptying. You don't want any GI distress. You want to stay on the race course. You want to stay in the gym. You want to continue on with your game or activity, whatever it is that you're doing. Awesome. And then what to eat after exercise. This is your post-training. So your 3 post-workout goals, like on the Gatorade bottle, I think it's hydrate, replenish, refuel. We're just going to put replenish, repair, and recover. The 2 main things that we're going to want to have after we exercise are going to be protein and carbohydrates. Protein, assuming you ran, you biked, you did the stair stepper, you lifted weights, you did some sort of high intense physical activity like a team sport, basketball, softball, baseball, football, field hockey, whatever it is, you're going to experience some amount of muscle protein breakdown. That is okay, because assuming you ate well before and you'll eat well after and you'll sleep well that night, your muscles will come back stronger, bigger, and more efficient. But that's only possible when you eat 20 to 40 grams of a high quality protein source, or again, just getting in your daily protein intake over the 24-hour period. So get in protein within, 1 to 2 hours post-exercise alongside a carbohydrate source, around 1 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight of carbohydrates, and even more depending on how depleted you got. And one good rule of thumb that I like from all the research is that you're going to want to have carbohydrates to protein in a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 ratio, meaning you'll have 3 grams of carbs for 1 gram of protein or 4 grams of carbs for 1 gram of protein. In this way, carbohydrates are going to open up the doors to your muscles, and then protein's going to go in there and then rebuild them and make them better and stronger and more efficient for later. So carbohydrates for glycogen resynthesis, protein for muscle protein synthesis. It's going to be the combo of those two, which are going to be amazing. And then more on this for post-exercise recovery. We obviously want to continue to rehydrate. So having a sodium-containing drink or an electrolyte-containing drink, or maybe just plain water. And then this is also the time to have your dietary fats, and more specifically, your MUFAs and your PUFAs, your mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids from things like olive oil, canola oil, nuts, seeds, salmon, avocado, all the healthy fats, even like a fish oil supplement, because this is going to reduce inflammation. We know that as we exercise, as we get tired throughout the day, as we become sleep deprived, inflammation goes up within our body, or more so within our systemic circulation, and we have healthy fats, it reduces the inflammation. The more inflammation we can reduce, the healthier we are now, and the healthier we are down the road, such that we can reduce future risks of cardiometabolic diseases. So get in your healthy fats post-exercise to reduce inflammation. Awesome. So I do want to add in this little bit as far as customizing for strength versus endurance. So for the strength training folks out there, protein is going to be a little bit more important than carbohydrates, because muscle protein synthesis is going to be more important than glycogen resynthesis. If you're going into the gym and looking to add on strength, so abilities to push, pull, and press increasing amounts of weight, you're not going to be burning off that many calories, even if you're a relatively big person. Endurance athletes are going to burn off way more calories at tinier body weights. It's a known thing that you could be like a 250 pound, strong man, and maybe not strong man, like a 250 pound strength athlete. You're going to burn off less calories than the 150 pound endurance athlete, like triathlete, because running for 2 hours or biking for 2 hours will easily burn off 1,000 to 1,200 calories, but a gym session of 45 minutes might burn off 300 calories. So that's why a strength training athlete needs to prioritize more protein, whereas an endurance athlete needs to prioritize more carbohydrates. Everyone's still going to need carbs, the healthy carbs. Everyone's still going to need the protein, the healthy proteins. But in general, strength training folks out there, focus a little bit more heavily on protein, and the endurance folks out there, focus a little bit more heavily on carbs. If you are a hybrid athlete, so to speak, and you're like completely on the Nick Bare train, you're completely on the Cameron Hanes and the David Goggins train and the high rocks or hydrox, whatever it's called, welcome to the club. I've been doing this for years. Just eat a ton of carbs, eat a ton of protein, and you'll be fine. And if you're looking to do 2-a-days, which again I've been doing for years, or maybe even 3-a-days, welcome to the club. What you can do is just focus on getting carbs at every single meal, depending on how many calories you need throughout the day. What I used to do is I would have 1,000 calorie meals. In the previous video, I discussed how I would get up at 3:30 in the morning, click my watch, go at 3:58, and then run until 6. I would do a half marathon before the sun came up. I'd run another hour in the afternoon, or I'd lift in the afternoon, followed by a 4 to 5 mile walk at night. I was easily burning off 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. And every single time I sat down to eat, I would make sure I got like 40 to 50 grams of protein, and I'd fill in the rest with carbs. So if you are a hybrid athlete who wants to be big, strong, and efficient, carbs with a little bit of protein, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio, and you'll be all set. And lastly, with customizing for strength versus endurance versus hybrid, stay consistent with your hydration. You need to stay hydrated. Water, electrolyte beverages, you know what to do. Awesome. So some common mistakes to avoid, just in case there is any confusion. Number one, please do not fast before your workouts. You will underperform. Anyone who thinks, and it's crazy that I even have to talk about this, anyone who thinks that they're going to perform better with like running, biking, cycling, lifting weights, like doing a sport or physical activity, going to practice, playing in a tournament, if you think that you're going to perform better fasted, that's absolutely bananas. It's like saying my phone is at 10%, but I'm good to use it for the next several days. No, it's going to run out. You're going to want to put it at 100% and keep a charger close by. You need to stay with the battery up. You have to keep your calories up high. Number two, do not overeat on dietary fats and fiber pre-workout. Again, dietary fats and fiber are going to promote GI issues during exercise because the digestion rate is so slow. If you're someone who's just kind of chilling out all day and you don't want huge fluctuations in your blood sugar, if you want to stay relatively stable, then have dietary fats and fiber throughout your day. They are super, super, super healthy for you. But right before an intense session, chillax with the dietary fats and the fiber. Number 3, please do not skip carbohydrates post-workout. If you can get in carbohydrates within 1 to 2 hours following your workout, you will be able to aid in your glycogen resynthesis as well as muscle protein synthesis much quicker than if you were to wait 6, 12, and 24 hours. If you don't believe me, go on Google Scholar or PubMed and look up glycogen resynthesis rates and muscle protein resynthesis rates, and you'll see some awesome data to show that the folks who ate the closest before a workout and the closest after a workout recovered way more quickly than anyone who just waited all day long. So if you want to focus on performance and optimizing that, eat around your workouts. Number 4, please do not forget to drink water and or electrolyte containing beverages during long runs, during intense, hot, voluminous sessions. We know that hydration is going to be a key limiting factor during intense sessions, long sessions, and of course during the summer. So maintain your hydration. And the last one is please avoid relying too heavily on supplements as opposed to real food. I'm a huge fan of whey protein, but whey protein is one of the 2 main protein sources in cow's milk. So there's whey on top and casein on the bottom if you were to boil them down in like a vat. So I'll drink a protein shake in the morning and a protein shake at night, but in general, I don't go with the crazy carbohydrate supplements, any of the nitric oxide boosters. I don't take any like anhydrous caffeine, none of that. So eat as much real food as possible to get in the maximum amount of nutrients you can get in, the maximum amount of protein, fiber, and just all the good, solid, healthy vitamins and minerals that come from this planet Earth. Make sure you're eating them because you will feel and be the healthiest possible. Awesome, we made it. Let's land this plane. TLDR, smart fueling enhances performance, recovery, and longevity. Remember, you're not training for six-pack ab season. You're not training for this one race. You're training for the next 50 or 60 years. So make it efficient and make it something that you can just rinse and repeat every single day of the week. 2, don't overthink it. Focus on quality carbohydrates, quality protein, the timing of your food ingestion, as well as your hydration. Next, make all of this work for your routine and your goals. If you know that you are not going to do the 4 a.m. workouts and you're not going to do like the white rice and chicken cutlet diet or something like that, then don't do it. I've been doing the protein shake and banana and protein shake diet for years, and it works for me personally, and then I take a multivitamin. It's awesome for me, so make something work for you. Just don't make it harder than it needs to be. And lastly, as always, I do want to thank you for tuning in and watching another episode. I do hope you enjoyed and learned a thing or 2 or 3. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend, and watch this video or this video wherever the graphic is on the screen, and subscribe to my Substack, my podcast, and my Instagram so you will not miss all of the most up-to-date information on exercise science, nutrition, longevity, healthy aging, metabolism, and all the rest of it. So it's about that time. I got to go do my morning run. I think I have a tempo in store today. I hope you're about to go to the gym as well. And as always, consistency wins. Check you all in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching.